All right, so are you ready to dive into something pretty interesting? A lot of you have requested that we unpack the story of Aretha Franklin's estate, and oh boy, let me tell you, this is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah,
We're talking about the Queen of Soul, a legend
absolutely.
with a meticulously crafted musical legacy, but when it comes to her financial legacy, things get a little messy.
It's fascinating. What's so fascinating about this case is the contrast. Her music was carefully arranged, each note perfectly in place.
Oh, yeah.
Yet her financial affairs were, well, let's just say they lacked that same level of attention.
Right.
And it's a good reminder that even legends can sometimes overlook the importance of estate planning.
Yeah.
And that's really why we're here today, to explore what went wrong and what lessons we can all learn from Aretha Franklin's story.
Exactly. And we'll be pulling from a couple of different sources for this deep dive. We're looking at excerpts from the podcast episode Respect for Estate Planning, the Aretha Franklin Estate Saga. And we'll also touch upon Tina Jin's book, Dead Funny, the Estate Planning Survival Guide for the Living. And we're going to uncover some eyebrow-raising details like multiple wills, a family feud that went on for years, and you guessed it, a will found tucked away in the couch cushions.
It's almost too strange to be true, right? You'd think with all the lawyers and advisors surrounding someone like Aretha Franklin, someone would have said, hey, maybe we should get this will situation sorted out properly. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And the consequences were pretty significant, not just for her family, but also for the value of her estate itself.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the estate drama, let's quickly set the stage.
Sure.
You probably already know Aretha Franklin's music. You know those iconic hits like Respect and Think.
Of course, who doesn't?
But for today's deep dive, what's important is to understand that beyond the music, Aretha was a real person with a complex life.
Right. She wasn't just an icon on stage. She was a mother. She faced personal challenges, and she even had financial struggles despite her success.
Right.
I think it's crucial to remember that even legends are human, dealing with the same ups and downs as the rest of us.
Totally.
It adds a layer of complexity to this whole estate situation because it shows that even someone so talented and successful can struggle with these practical yet crucial aspects of life.
Yeah, and those struggles really kind of foreshadowed the difficulties her estate would face when Aretha Franklin passed away in 2018. She left behind an estate estimated at a staggering $80 million.
Wow.
But here's the catch. She didn't have a clear and legally sound will in place.
And by legally sound, we mean a will that meets all the legal requirements of the state where she resided, ensuring it can be properly executed and upheld in court.
Right.
Without a valid will, the distribution of her assets was left in a sort of legal limbo.
And that's where things get really interesting. It turned out that there wasn't just one will, but two handwritten wills. Can you believe it?
Two handwritten wills.
One was discovered in a locked cabinet, but the other one was found tucked away in the couch cushions. Talk about a plot twist.
I know, right? It's almost comical, like something out of a movie.
Right.
You have these incredibly important documents potentially determining the fate of millions of dollars just casually stuffed in the couch cushions.
Yeah.
It really raises questions about why she didn't prioritize this aspect of her life despite her meticulous approach to her music.
I'm with you. So what were these conflicting wills all about?
Well, these handwritten wills contradicted each other in some key areas, sparking a 5-year legal battle between her 4 sons, Clarence Edward Keecalf and Ted Jr.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the stress and tension this must have caused within the family, especially considering the public nature of the whole ordeal.
Oh, I can only imagine. It's heartbreaking to think that Aretha's legacy would be overshadowed by this kind of legal drama. What were some of the specific points of contention in the wills? What made them so difficult to reconcile?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. One of the main issues was the appointment of an executor, the person responsible for managing and distributing the estate. The different wills named different sons for this crucial role, immediately creating conflict.
So right off the bat, there was disagreement about who was in control. Did the wills also specify how the assets themselves would be divided?
They did, and that's where things got even more complex.
Yeah.
The 2010 will, the one found in the locked cabinet, seemed to divide the estate fairly evenly among the 4 sons.
Okay.
But the 2014 will, the infamous couch cushion will, gave a larger share to Keecalf, the youngest son.
So we had conflicting executors and conflicting distributions of assets. No wonder this ended up in court. It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It really was. And it highlights a crucial lesson about estate planning.
What's that?
Clarity is key.
Okay.
Vague language or conflicting instructions can open the door for disputes and legal challenges, even in seemingly straightforward situations.
Yeah, okay, so we've got these two handwritten wills, each with its own set of issues. What ultimately happened? Which will prevailed?
Well, after years of legal wrangling, a Michigan court finally ruled in 2025 in favor of the 2014 will, the one found in the couch cushions.
No way. Seriously. The couch cushion will won out.
It did.
What?
It might sound unbelievable, but the court's decision ultimately hinged on the date each will was signed and whether Aretha was of sound mind when she wrote them. It turned out the 2014 will was considered more legally sound despite its unconventional storage location.
Wow, that's incredible. It just goes to show that even in the most unexpected places, crucial documents can be found. And it emphasizes why it's so important to have a plan and make sure your loved ones know where to find your important papers.
Absolutely. But here's the catch. All those years of legal battles, lawyer fees, court costs, and missed business opportunities took a toll. The estate's value significantly diminished. It's a stark illustration of how a lack of planning can lead to unintended consequences, even for someone as wealthy and successful as Aretha Franklin.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? All that time and money spent on legal battles could have been avoided with a little bit of foresight and proper planning. This story is a cautionary tale, wouldn't you say?
It certainly is, and it's precisely why Tina Ginn's book, Dead Funny, The Estate Planning Survival Guide for the Living, resonates so strongly. It approaches this often dreaded topic with a refreshing dose of humor, making it less intimidating and more engaging.
It sounds like Tina Jin takes a more lighthearted approach to a pretty serious subject. Does she offer any specific advice or anecdotes that might help our listener avoid a similar fate?
Absolutely. In her book, Tina emphasizes that estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for everyone, regardless of your age or financial situation. She even shares this hilarious anecdote about a woman who,
Wait, hold on. Before you dive into the anecdote, I think it's important to unpack why having a will is so crucial. We've seen how things went wrong with Aretha Franklin, but for someone listening who might not fully grasp the importance, could you break down the key reasons everyone should have a will?
you're right, that's a great point. Having a legally valid will, one that clearly outlines your wishes, is like having the final say in how your assets are distributed. It minimizes the chance of disputes arising, ensures your loved ones are taken care of according to your wishes, and can even help to reduce potential estate taxes.
So it's not just about dividing up money and possessions.
Not at all. A will can also cover things like guardianship for minor children, instructions for your digital assets, and even your wishes for funeral arrangements. It's about having that peace of mind knowing your affairs are in order.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've established that everyone needs a will, but you also mentioned something about trusts earlier. What are those all about, and how do they differ from a will?
A trust is like a separate legal entity that holds and manages assets for the benefit of your beneficiaries. It can be established while you're still alive, giving you more control and flexibility compared to a will, which only comes into play after your death.
So I could set up a trust for my kids' education, but still change my mind later if needed.
Exactly. That's the flexibility a revocable living trust offers. But if you're looking for asset protection from creditors, an irrevocable trust might be more suitable, though it comes with less flexibility.
Interesting. So trusts sound pretty handy, but I imagine they can get pretty complex, right?
They can be, especially if you have a complex family or a sizable estate. That's why it's always advisable to consult with an estate planning attorney who can guide you through the process and help you determine the best approach for your specific needs.
I bet they've seen it all from the straightforward to the truly bizarre. Do you think a trust could have prevented the legal battle that unfolded in Aretha Franklin's case?
It's impossible to say for sure, but a trust could have potentially streamlined the distribution of her assets and minimized the potential for conflict among her heirs. It's a reminder that while a will is a good starting point, a trust can offer an extra layer of protection and control, particularly in complex situations.
So to bring this back to Tina Ginn and her humorous take on estate planning, what was that anecdote you were about to share?
Right, Tina tells this story about a woman who included a very specific instruction in her will regarding her beloved pet parrot. She stipulated that the parrot must be given a proper burial.
Wait, hold on. A burial for a parrot? Are you serious? A burial for a parrot? You're kidding me, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Apparently, this woman was incredibly attached to her parrot and wanted to ensure it received a dignified send-off.
Oh, wow.
Kitty uses this story to illustrate how estate planning isn't just about the big-ticket items like houses and bank accounts.
Right.
It's also about those sentimental belongings that hold special meaning for us.
Yeah, it's about making sure your wishes are respected, no matter how quirky or unconventional they might seem. And it's a good reminder to think about all the aspects of your life, both big and small, when you're putting together your estate plan.
You got it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the complexities of Aretha Franklin's estate, delved into the importance of wills and trusts, and even chuckled at a few anecdotes from Tina Jin's book. But what does this all mean for our listener? Why should they care about any of this?
I think Aretha Franklin's story serves as a powerful cautionary tale. It shows how even someone with immense wealth and success can face estate complications due to a lack of planning. It underscores the importance of being proactive, regardless of your age or net worth.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that estate planning isn't just for the rich and famous. It's for everyone who wants to protect their loved ones and ensure their wishes are respected.
Exactly. And remember, estate planning isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process that should evolve with your life. Review your will, regularly update it as needed, and make sure your loved ones know where to find it. Don't leave your legacy to chance or couch cushions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this talk of wills, trusts, and parrots getting proper burials, I highly recommend checking out Tina Jin's book, Dead Funny. It's a fantastic resource that breaks down complex concepts in a clear, concise, and humorous way.
I second the recommendation a lot. Tina's book is a must-read for anyone who wants to approach estate planning with a sense of humor and practicality.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Aretha Franklin's estate and this whole topic of estate planning, we encourage you to revisit her music, explore Tina Jin's Dead Funny, and most importantly, take some time to reflect on your own legacy. What do you want to be remembered for?
What kind of mark do you want to leave on the world? These are questions worth pondering, whether you're a musical icon or simply someone who wants to live a life of purpose and meaning. And remember, you don't need to be a celebrity or have millions of dollars to leave a lasting legacy. It's the small acts of kindness, the connections we forge, and the love we share that truly make a difference.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful, engaging, and maybe even a little bit humorous along the way.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep leaving your mark on the world.